Hello and welcome back to YachtBuyer 360. We've got something pretty special for you today. This is the Mulder Favorite 1700. And if you aren't familiar with this shipyard, they're Dutch and they build super yachts. And what they've tried to do with this model, I'll just extend the pole a bit so you can have a better look, is bring super yacht quality, attention to detail, finish, and in many ways exclusivity to a package that is around 60 feet long. There's a slightly smaller one, there's a slightly bigger one, but this one sits in quite a sweet spot. And I'm going to give you the full tour. And remember, with a 360 video, you are in control of what you look at. So you can grab the screen if you're on a tablet or a phone, or you can tilt it. On a computer, you can use your mouse and you can look in any direction and inspect what you want to look at as I take you through the boat. Pause the screen as well if you want to have a close look at things and look around. It's all up to you. The boat is full aluminium, twin shaft drive, and I think you're really going to like this one. The attention to detail and the feeling of quality is absolutely through the roof. So you have a fixed bathing platform. Behind that though, there's a tender garage, a really nicely fitted out tender garage, big enough to swallow a 3.5 metre tender. There's access up both sides of the transom. There is also a slot for a passerelle here. And they really want this to be an all-season boat. You can use it in the canals of the Netherlands and go through the locks. You can go through the French canals, and you can also use it out at sea. It'll top out at 22 knots with this pair of Volvo Penta 480 horsepower engines, and there's touches all over the place that help with this flexibility when it comes to cruising ground. So for example, this mast collapses at the touch of a button down into the cockpit almost silently. All of the mechanisms are made in-house because they want them to be as quiet as possible, the likes of the tender garage, and this you can barely hear when they're moving. But with this down, the air draft is just 3.5 meters. Really important if you're going through the canal networks. And just look at this gorgeous woodwork. This varnished teak ahead of me and on the table. But they also wanted a boat that is easy to look after. We're going to go into the interior in a moment, don't worry. But if I just take you around the deck, you'll see that the decking here and the cappings and this detail line along the wheelhouse was all synthetic to make it easy to look after. Yes, the varnish stuff looks great, real teak looks great, but it takes a battering, especially if you're using it in the sun, and there's lots of it. As you can see, this foredeck, this coach roof is absolutely covered in it. Would look great in teak, would be a bit of a pain to look after. So this is going to be an owner-run boat, and they wanted it to be easy to maintain. And just take a look at this view aft. How good does that look? Now it's a big expanse, but you can put cushions on this coach roof, so you can turn this into a sunbathing space, because obviously there's a lot of area there. And then forward, the anchor is completely hidden, and all of the anchor mechanisms as well. However, we have these split hatches, same access on both sides, but you can just see down there, you can see the aluminium on either side. You can also see the anchor tucks away there, so that comes up flush to the front of the bow, so it doesn't protrude at any point. You can see practical things like having hooks there to hang your lines on. These are boats built by boaters, and you see evidence of that all over the place. Right, let's head back to that cockpit, shall we? Really nice high tow rails, high railings as well, and look at the gauge of the cleats even, look how chunky they are. It feels really robust, as much as you can tell from a boat show stand, but you just get a feeling as you move around the boat whether it's built properly or not, and this one certainly feels like it is. I should also mention that they are totally bespoke. So if you didn't want this particular cockpit arrangement, if you wanted the seating arranged differently, if you wanted a different table, no table, you really do start with a a blank piece of paper with Mulder. So as I said, that sumptuous experience scaled down to this type of size. Here we have an aft bench. I'll just hover a moment so you can have a look around here if you want to pause. And I like these seats here because the L shape is comfortable, you can lean into them really nicely, but you have the coverage and the protection from the sides. So when the boat's moving along, if you want to sit outside but not be blasted by the wind, that type of corner is always a nice place to be. Right, let's head into this interior, shall we? This window is halfway down at the moment. It drops all the way down to connect these two areas. And I really like the use of teak inside. So there's synthetic teak outside and on the floor all the way, even down on the lower deck, there's teak. So it feels very boaty, for want of a better phrase, but there's some really high quality materials in here as well. Real marble, Hermes materials, leather on the tabletops, leather on the edges of this counter. The TV pops out of a counter over here and is really discreetly tucked away when it's not in use. Underneath this counter, the full galley's downstairs, but there's a good sized fridge here. So you've got drink storage very close to the cockpit. Oh, everything you come into contact with just feels so beautifully put together. These metal catches are lovely. And I love the way they sort of send a strip down towards the deck as well. Your main seating area over to the port side. These stools are quite fun as well. Obviously they can be moved around, so quite flexible. Ventilation over on that side, and there's windows on both sides in fact, and a sunroof. So you can open this area up to the elements. And I'll just pop the camera up so you can have a look around and down from the position of the sunroof. Look at the bow, look aft, you can see the mast and what's on top of the wheelhouse here. It's a big boat, it's 60 feet, but it feels manageable. Let's take a look at the Helm Station. Again, beautiful finish. The real wood steering wheel, leather inserts, very clean dash, all dark as well, so there should be no glare. And then you've got your digital switching system, so everything to do with controlling the boat you can control from these screens here. Things like lighting, inside and outside. You've got all your switching here. You can, for example, I mentioned about the mast, you can control the mast from here, you can control the sunroof from here, windows, tables, all of it is locked and unlocked from here. Suite of cameras as well. You can see we've got one facing aft and one down in the engine room. Always nice to have eyes on the engine room when you're going along, so you can check by eye that everything is as it should be down in the machinery space when the boat's moving along. Yeah, really nice position. Final look aft from my perspective. And then let's head downstairs to the lower deck and have a look what we have in store down there. As I mentioned, real marble tops. They're absolutely lovely. There's a nice curvature to everything as well, no sharp corners. So if you're down here when you're at sea, you're not cracking into a sharp corner. It has got Humphrey electric fin stabilizers though, so it should be pretty stable both at rest and when the boat is on the move. And it's designed to cruise at around 17 knots, topping out at 22 knots. Semi-displacement hull. Now this is an interesting little area on the starboard side. Commented that a lot of the time if these are just sort of tables, dining areas, they don't really get used in their experience with customers, so they made it into essentially a work area. This is designed to be a desk, somewhere to have your iPad or a laptop and do some work. You can stretch out, put your devices out. There's a plug socket underneath as well. You're nice and close to the galley, you're tucked away, you're not using the main table. I think that would be a lovely place to work personally. And look at the different materials here, the marble, the lamps, the patterns here up in front of me, the different materials on the seating. It's really interesting. It looks absolutely lovely. And even the use of lighting, you see the backlighting in these alcoves here. It's just gorgeous. I mean, arguably having teak on the floor in an area where you're going to cook, if you're going to have spillages, then it's going to be a bit hard to look after. You could always put rugs down. In fact, this boat has been used, it's got 300 hours on it. You'd never know. It's been used, you know, in vain. Family on board and everything. And it looks stunning. And actually part of the Mulder package is they will look after the boat and maintain it for you. So you have a really good, rigorous maintenance schedule when you buy a Mulder product. The galley. Obviously galley down arrangement. If you wanted the galley up on deck, you could do that. But I actually really like this. Because it's so open, looking aft, then even though I'm down here, I'm well connected to the spaces. I can see right back to the cockpit from here. So you do feel in touch with everything. Underneath this counter, there is an under-counter fridge. Not domestic size, you know, full height. But remember, you have got that big cooler up on the main deck as well. These marble tops are just stunning. Induction cooking over here. Dishwasher. Yeah, these are liveaboard boats. They say their owners get on at the start of the season and they don't really get off. So they are designed to be lived on board. They look lovely, but there is a real depth of practicality underpinning it all. I won't open every cupboard. Plenty of other channels do that for you. Let's go forward as we're here and look at the owner's cabin. Traditional arrangement with a double bed into the bow. You've got a pair of classic round portholes that open up so you can get some fresh air in here. And then I love this sort of rattan finish on these fascias. Opens up some of your storage. And how about this material here? You see on either side of the bed, even the lamps, all the accessories are so different, tastefully done. And look at the bathroom, and we have the same pattern behind the shell light there. How nice is that? Even the extractor fan is whisper quiet. Nice separate shower cubicle with the rain shower head. And the sink with the brass taps above. So that's the owner's sleeping space. There are two further cabins, pretty much identical. Go to the starboard one first. Now headroom's a little bit restricted in these because we're going underneath the saloon. So you can stand in the doorway. I'm just perching on the step here, but you can stand in the doorway and then you are stooping down to get into bed. But the berths themselves are a nice size and you still get the beautiful accessories, the lamps. I should mention the blinds are electric as well. So from bed you can control the blinds, you control lights. And there's a locker storage here on the starboard side, and then you've got your hanging storage here. And these bathrooms share this heads unit, which doesn't have a rain shower head, but it does have a separate shower cubicle, toilet, sink, the usual bits. And then we come to the port side guest cabin, which has a little more headroom because it doesn't have to account for the helm. So yes, this one is slightly larger. I can actually walk into this one up until about halfway down the bed and then it drops down a bit, but this is easier to walk around. This is nice. You get changed here quite comfortably. And the cabinetry, I mean, look at these joins here. The attention to detail is just marvellous. I've no doubt you pay for it. They've not actually told me the price. I think it might be a case of if you have to ask, sir, etc, etc. But it is lovely. Okay. Let's head back. No crew cabin on this boat. As I said, designed to be owner run. People who buy these want to run themselves. Where we can look is in the engine room with the hatch just outside the saloon doors. So, open it up. And look at that. Like a surgical theatre. I'll drop down that ladder and pick up from down there. Right, I'll just hold this in the middle so you guys can look around as you wish. I cannot believe this has got 300 hours on it. It looks, feels and smells absolutely brand new. It is clean as a whistle. The wiring is Neat and tidy, the plumbing, there is not a hair out of place. And it's really easy to get around the engines. They're relatively small. For a boat of this size, you know, they're only looking to cruise at 17 knots, so it doesn't have a thumping great pair of engines. They're pretty modest on their straight shafts. Easy to work around. Really lovely and bright down here. You could spot a leak in seconds. It's all white. And look at some of the engineering. These seawater strainers. Got your filters up on the forward bulkhead there. Stainless fuel tanks on either side. Generator in the port corner. Of course, no seakeeper, no gyro, so because you've got fins, that's not gobbling up space down here. You've got the air compressor down there. That's quite a handy addition, isn't it? Clean as a whistle. As an owner-run boat, it's so important that these spaces are easy to work in, comfortable, and you can see everything really easy. You're not having to clamber around and poke yourself into corners to work on things. Really impressive depth of engineering. It's not just the pretty stuff they do well. The serious engineering is clearly, you know, they take great pride in it as well. Lovely. Right, let's emerge. Well, there you go. Something a bit special, I hope you agree. That is a really, really lovely boat. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. And hopefully, on the other channel, we'll be able to sea trial one of these one day, because I think that would be quite an experience. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like. Make sure you're subscribed if you haven't done so already. And look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks for watching. I'm Jack Haines. This is YachtBuyer 360.